What if I told you there is a simple three-part framework tucked away in an ancient text that can help us understand pretty much everything, from our daily cravings to why nations go to war? Well, today, we're diving into a text called The Mass of Suffering to uncover exactly that. So, our story kicks off with a classic scenario, a question. You've got this group of monks, they're out on their daily rounds, and they bump into some other spiritual seekers, some ascetics who make a pretty bold claim. They basically say to the monks, hey, you know that stuff your teacher, the Buddha, teaches? About fully understanding sensual pleasures, physical form, and feelings? Yeah, we teach the exact same thing. There's literally no difference between our teachings. Now, you can imagine the monks are a bit puzzled. They don't really agree, but they don't want to start a fight either. So instead of getting into a big debate right then and there, they do something really smart. They decide to take the question straight to the top, to the Buddha himself. So when the monks lay this all out for him, the Buddha doesn't just give a simple yes or no. Of course not. Instead, he explains that those other teachers are completely missing the point. He then unpacks this incredibly powerful three-part framework for what true understanding actually looks like. He tells them, look, if someone claims to fully get these topics, but they can't answer the next three questions about them, then their knowledge is just surface level. They're not seeing the whole picture. So let's take a look at what these three game-changing questions are. First, you have to ask, what is the asadaza? This is the appeal, the gratification, the sweetness of something. It's the hook. It's the reason we're drawn to it in the first place. What's the pleasure it offers? Second, and this is absolutely crucial, what is the adinava? This is the danger, the drawback, the hidden cost. It's the suffering that is secretly woven into that very sweetness that you are just enjoying. And third, you have to ask, what is the nisarana? This is the escape hatch, the path to liberation. Because you see, knowing the good and the bad isn't enough. You have to also see the way out, the way to transcend the whole cycle. Okay, so theory is great, but how does this actually play out? Well, the Buddha immediately applies this three-part lens to the first topic the other teachers brought up, sensual pleasures. First up, the appeal, the asada of pleasure. This one's pretty obvious, right? It's the joy we get from listening to great music, eating delicious food, seeing a beautiful sunset. It's that instant gratification we get through our five senses. Simple enough. But then the Buddha asks, okay, what's the danger? The adinava. And his answer is huge. He describes it as a great mass of suffering and says it's all born from chasing after those very same pleasures. This suffering, he says, starts with just the daily grind, the struggle to make a living, to get the things we want. Then there's the pain we feel when we don't get them, the constant stress of protecting what we do have, and of course, the terrible grief when we lose it. And just look how this thing snowballs. That same desire for stuff becomes the root cause of conflicts on every single level of society. It causes fights between kids and parents, disputes with governments, and yeah, it even leads to countries going to war with each other. And it goes deeper. This chase can lead people to commit crimes, like theft, which leads to brutal punishments. And on an even deeper level, it fuels all sorts of negative actions in what we do, say, and think, which, according to the text, leads to a pretty rough future. That is the adinava. So after all that, what on earth is the escape, the nisarana? Well, it's the complete and total letting go of that craving. It's abandoning the relentless passion for these temporary sensory hits that cause this whole mountain of suffering in the first place. Next up, the Buddha takes this exact same powerful framework and applies it to rupa, or physical form, and he uses the very potent example of human beauty. The appeal here is just undeniable. The text gives us this vivid image of a young person, maybe 15 or 16 years old, at the absolute height of their beauty and energy. And looking at them brings joy and delight. That's the asada clear, crystal clear. But the danger, the adinava, is its profound impermanence. The Buddha asks us to look at that same person decades later, maybe 90 years old, frail and bent with age, or to see them sick. And then, finally, to see the body after death, as it decays and falls apart. That original beauty is completely gone. That inevitable unraveling, that's the danger. And so the escape follows the same pattern. It's about letting go of the desire and the passion for something so temporary. It's about releasing that deep, deep attachment we have to the physical form. And finally, the Buddha applies this framework to the most subtle category of all, feelings, or Vedana, the very fabric of our moment-to-moment experience. Now, for the appeal of pleasant feelings, he doesn't use some everyday example. He points to the highest possible form, the profound, totally harmless bliss and peace that you can experience in really deep states of meditation. This is like the gold standard of pleasant feelings, the ultimate asada. And yet, even this sublime, perfect state has an inherent danger, an adinava. And what is it? It's simply the fact that it's a feeling. And every single feeling, by its very nature, doesn't last. It arises, it hangs around for a bit, and then it vanishes. It's fundamentally unreliable. And this is where it all comes together. This is the big difference. Those other teachers, they could see the appeal. Maybe some of them could even point out the danger. But the Buddhist teaching is complete because it always includes all three parts. Real understanding isn't just seeing one or two sides of something. It's seeing the whole system, the hook, the cost, and the way out. And this leaves us with an incredibly practical tool we can use in our own lives. To truly understand anything, a habit we have, a relationship, a job, we have to honestly look at all three of these angles. So the final question really is for you. What is there in your life that you clearly see the appeal of, but maybe you haven't truly faced its dangers or understood the real path to freedom from it? What do you truly understand?